One of the worst positions you guys can get stuck in is mount. Not just because it's a bad position, because you can get stuck in submissions or anything like that, but it's really because it is extremely uncomfortable. You're not just like having somebody on top of you being heavy, but they're sweaty. Sometimes they can smell a little bit. So in this video, guys, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna help you guys be able to actually get out of mount, because there's one really good way to get out. So when it comes to escaping mount, I am not worried about my partner's upper body that much. You'll see different things about like the trap and roll, but the trap and roll really at a higher level does not work. You're not gonna be able to explode your hips up, get their hands to the mat, trap, frame, and to be able to escape the position. It's gonna be extremely tough to do that, and it takes a lot of energy. But a way that I found that works literally every single time, so we're like, if this is the only mount escape you know, you are in extremely good hands. So what I'm gonna look to do is I'm gonna look to escape to either side. So, because obviously what you guys can see here, I'm actually gonna build my frames up under my partner's hip right here. So both of my hands are gonna stack on top of my partner's ASIs here. And the ASIs are the two bony parts of your partner's hips. What I wanna do though is I need to make sure that my elbow is framing at the same side hip. Because when I start to build up and I start to look to escape out of this position here, if my elbow is framing at this hip right here, as in it's just past the ASIs, if he tries to take my back in this position, he's not gonna be able to climb his right knee up and behind my shoulder, because I'm framing with the structure of my arm, and that's from my elbow to my shoulder. So unless he can somehow like break this arm, there's no way he's gonna be able to do that. But if though I go too far and my elbow, let's say he's like towards the middle of his belly, this is when it gets extremely bad. He's gonna take my back and do a lot of bad things, right? So when I do this, I'm immediately looking to build my hands to my partner's hips. But I wanna be really clear here. We are not trying to push with our hands. If I push with my hands, then my elbows are gonna be a lot less useful. And what I'm actually doing is placing my hands on my partner's hips, and then it's my elbows that are gonna be framing him away. My goal and objective here is to try to get the majority of Ethan's weight to this side. So I want it to be really big into this knee. So the only way I could do that is by getting my hands to the hips. I build my frame with my left elbow at the same side hip. When I do this, I need to find a way to get this elbow between his inner thigh and my ribs. So this can sometimes be the knee or just the inner thigh. But when I do this here, sometimes this knee will be close. See how I won't be able to fit in there? So when I do this, I build my frames. I'm gonna shrug my shoulder to my ear. As I do this though, my feet are close to my butt. I'm gonna extend my body the opposite way, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to elongate my arm that I want on the inside of his thigh here. Now, as soon as I do this, my elbow, if I do a good job keeping it the same side hip, just to the outside, I'm gonna try to guide him this way. At the same time, I'm using my forearm, like the inside of it, this bony part right here, and I'm gonna try to guide him this way too. Sometimes you may be able to push him over, sometimes they won't move much, but that's when we start using the kip. So as I do this here, I'm gonna bring my chin to my chest, and I'm gonna make myself go onto my side, and I'm gonna keep my shoulders and my head, everything concave together. So as I do this, I build my frames this way here. Now, sometimes this knee will come off the mat, sometimes it'll like barely come off here. But my goal is to keep tension here. So I don't wanna push with my hands. If I push with my hands, my elbows become useless. So really my hands are kind of pointless unless they're in the wrong spot. If they're here, it's not gonna work. So I just want my hands to keep tension at this hip. But it's my elbows that are pushing and guiding him this way, because I want his weight into this leg here. So as I'm building this frame here, he might be leaning over just a hair, but just for the sake of the video, he's gonna make sure you guys can see. But as I do this, he's gonna bend over just a little bit more, like it was an extra round, a little bit more. There you go. As I have him here, if I still cannot hip out, what I do is I bring my feet together, and my knees are gonna rest against his far butt cheek over here, right? Not his hamstring over here, this will not work. But my knees go to my partner's butt. And as I extend, I'm gonna do a half leg extension and a half leg curl. So then when I do this together really quickly, it's gonna make space. But what I'm looking for is just enough space to bring my bottom knee in. When my bottom knee can go in here, my bottom knee is now operating as a frame, okay? So once I do this, I now wanna bring my outside knee, which is my left knee here, on the outside of my partner's leg, and my left heel is gonna go to my partner's hip. Now what's really important here is we have to understand that we just escaped from mount, and now we're in an offensive position. The alternative is if the trap and roll does work, now we're in our partner's close guard. We get 0 points for that because you don't get points for reversals. And we're stuck in the most dangerous and difficult guard to pass in jiu-jitsu. The ankles are behind you, so it's a difficult guard to pass. It's the most dangerous in the context that every sweep is going to result in mount or the back from closed guard, and there are a lot of submissions. But when I escape to single X, I have all the offense availability here, and it's a good position to kind of catch my breath in for a moment, because sometimes when you get mounted, it can take a lot of effort to get out here. But a couple small details here. I want to make sure, especially because it's the gi, that I don't accidentally reap my partner here. If my foot crosses my partner's center line, think like the belly button here, you're going to get DQ'd. This is obviously dangerous for our partner's knee, but you're going to get DQ'd and probably go straight to jail. So what I want to do is I want to take my heel, it's going to go into my partner's hip, and my toes are to the outside. Now, a lot of times here, people love to get the ankle lock grip. This is something I like too, but notice how it's kind of tough to do that. And I don't want to spend a lot of time lifting his leg up. So what I like to do is that as I'm setting this up, I take my outside hand and I actually go behind my partner's knee here. And it's always going to be easy to do that. Now what I could do is I can use my right leg. I'm going to do a slight leg extension, and then I'm going to push him slightly with my left leg. So if Ethan comes back forward, like we're actually in the position here, so look how I guide him forward here, and it lifts up this right leg so I can easily get to an ankle lock grip. Now this ankle lock grip, we can obviously go to ankle locks, we can play whatever we want here, but you guys can obviously play just to the pants, it's up to you. Now this video is about escaping the mount position, and I really feel like the two best ways you can escape, number one is only with the elbow escape, but you're either escaping to butterfly guard or you're escaping to single X. I will tell you, single X generally is the easier option. Butterfly guard is an extremely dynamic guard that you have to really understand what you're doing to escape there. So we'll do this again. So again, I just get mounted, right? So I'm going to frame at one hip here. My same side elbow, the top elbow, because when I'm on my side, my left arm is going to be my top elbow. So I frame it outside the ASIS here. My feet go to my butt. I'm trying to find a way to get my elbow to the inside here. My chin goes to my chest, and I'm trying to do almost like a crunch, like I'm bringing my head to his thigh here. And as I do this, I'm going to push, guide him this way, and I'm going to get all the way to my side here. Now when I do this, if I need to start kipping, my knees go to my partner's far butt cheek here, and as I'm guiding him this way, I'm going to start aggressively kipping until I can get my bottom knee between his legs here. Now this is going to operate as a really strong frame, and as I guide my upper body away, my hand goes behind the knee. Now we're in single X. So again, guys, when you're escaping the mount position, it's really important that you view what you're trying to achieve here. We're trying to get our partner's weight to one side. Then we're trying to escape our hips out. Sometimes hipping out can work, but against somebody really good, you really have to have these kipping details down really good. So the two things that I think you really need to know to be able to escape anybody's mount is you need to be able to elbow escape, and you got to understand how to kip escape. So guys, if you have any other questions or any other videos you want to see, or maybe some submissions you want to see Doi put in, make sure you guys comment down below to help us decide what we're going to do to Doi next. I mean, what video we're going to make next. But if you guys are looking for a step coach to come along beside you to help you get better jiu-jitsu quicker, make sure you guys check out the link down below. I've got my lapel guard instructional and details about how you guys can join a community to get better at jiu-jitsu faster.